So far we have done tons of the things on Power BI, and if we don't have to do some additional calculations, which are, which we can't actually calculate, which we can't do on the data, then we are ready for the dashboards. We can make the dashboards. We can, because we have seen how the navigation buttons we can create, how the shapes, hover, disable or default, all that, which brings your a new life to your dashboards, because they look so good. They give that solid effect to your the formatting section, all that. So we can create, but the fact is that without the calculations, no dashboard is going to be appreciated by your management, because there are a lot of things which we will have to calculate, and that I'm going to show you. So for that, we need to know that how we can write the formulas in Power BI, which is called DAX. Okay, DAX. DAX is a formula language, basically. So let me show you this. So these are some of the questions. Okay, these are some of the questions which we will answer today. Let's see if we can. First of all, I want to keep this page. So after this, we'll start the DAX. Okay, and I'll delete the rest of the pages before sending. The ones we have covered today, they are fine, but the other ones, because those were available in the basics, right? So I want to now start with basic DAX, data analysis expression. Please understand, like in Excel, we have the formulas. In here also, we have the formulas. Now, for example, I say that, can you tell me the total sales and the total cost, or maybe the highest sale of this process, right? The first thing you will do, you will just go and, use this cost, okay? And you'll say, oh, this is very easy. I'm just going to use this, isn't it? This is what you will do. Ajay, you said, I want the total. So I'm giving the total. You want average? I can give you the average also, right? Isn't it? Using the field. I'm saying, no, you have to create the formula. But then the question comes, why I have to create the formula when these options are available? Isn't it? Right? So when we are going to begin, this question will come in your mind that when I can calculate the cost like this, why do I have to create the extra formula for this? Okay, so have patience. Because if I will start teaching the DAX somewhere from the middle level, you will never come back in the class, right? And you'll say that I didn't get a good teacher, or maybe you say that, oh, this is very difficult. So please understand, whenever I have to create a formula, I'll click on new measure. And whatever the formulas we will go and write, right? They all will be used in these visuals, depending upon the project. Let me click on this. Too much talking. New measure. New measure. Look at this. This you can see as an Excel formula bar, right? I want to create my measure, which means formula. Measure is a word or formula solved. Okay? Formula. DAX measure. We will say DAX measure. What is my measure? I want to total the sales. Sum. Like you say, oh, so we have a sum here also. Yes, we have. Sum is everywhere. Any programming language you pick, obviously, right? So formulas are always there. Summarize is also there. Summarize columns also there. Many of these functions I have not used it, so I don't know it. But if need to be, then yes, I can go and check, because my fundamentals are clear. I'm not supposed to know all the 1,000 formulas of Excel, isn't it? Start the formula, please. Sum. This also tells me the information, and same way, like in Excel. After all, this is the same product. This product is from the same company. Adds all the numbers in a column. Yes, I know that. Sum is like that. But what it says, this is what you have to understand. Column name. This is a parameter. It means that it's going to accept the column only, not just the table. You have to be specific. Tell me the column name. And common sense that the column has to be numbered. So I will go and start typing the column if I know. What is my column? Sales, right? So can I type sales here? Yes. it has picked up the table as well. Table name along with the column name, right? Okay. So what if I don't know the let's say column name? It's fine. I mean, my table has 20 headers, and I don't know. I just forgot. I'm so busy these days. I'm working on a dashboard. I forgot what was the header, isn't it? But then the table name. So start typing here, toy data. Remember, why I'm telling you this? Because you may have here 4 more different tables, right? So once you start typing the table, toy data, you will see all the fields related with the toy data. Right now, there's just one table in the window. So you may be thinking that I'm putting so much emphasis on this thing, that how to search. No, you may have 5, 6 other tables also, right? So this allows me to go inside the toy data, and then I can go and see what are the headers. So this is my header. So you can type in anything. I mean, you can type in sales also, but if the sales header is available in 3 different tables, all will show here. Okay. So, I mean, both ways are fine. I just have to go and close this. Okay. I know. Is this the name we will likely use this name measure? No. We will go and write something meaningful, isn't it? So I will say total sales, isn't it? Just right here, total sales. And if it is a DAX, how about keeping this as DX? This is your choice. I'm just writing it. Or you can start with the DAX underscore total sales. Up to you. Or just keep it total sales. I mean, again, up to you. Okay. Can we press enter? Because you see the comma is also closed. If I remove this comma and I press enter, I will get the error. This is not Excel which will give you that help. Okay, hey, you have done this typo error. To correct, please press yes. Okay. So I'm just going to close this. And now I'll press enter, or you can click here as well. Okay, let it do the calculation for you. There we go. This is the DAX. It has a different icon, which is nice. Now this DAX has, so if I don't see any error, this means this is there. Now how I can see that? But because this is a number, right? So I will definitely go and use the cards, because I can see that the field here. It's the same thing now, right? So if you put this field or this, they will give the same result. Totally agree. But we are learning it. Okay. Now total sale DAX. I don't like this option, sir, in my dashboard. What people will say DAX, isn't it? Yeah. So no problem. Just double click here. I told you. I think we can rename this also. So just say total sales. This will not change. Okay. You can do that. And as I said that, when you click on this, better you write just simply total sales. Okay. Up to you. Okay. So if I just change this, even I'm not sure, because on the fields, yes, there's no change happens. But what about this? Let's see that. If I click here, because this is a DAX. Yeah. So here also it's fine. Super. Right. So I'll just undo it. Okay. So now these all DAXs which I'm going to create, they are part of this table. Right. Now what I want is, so imagine you have 4 or 5 tables here. Some are using, in some fields you are totaling the sales from this toy data. In some you're totaling something else based on some other thing. So all the DAXs will be located inside those tables, So I think it's better we can put them at one place. So for that, what you can do is, it's not something you really have to do it, not mandatory, but I'm just telling you it's a good habit that we can create a separate table, enter data. Remember, enter data. And here I will just name this as underscore DAX. If you put the underscore, what happens? It always jumps on the top. So all the tables, whatever you have, they will show below this table. So that's why I'm using the underscore. So if I simply say load, so one table I have created, it's going to take some time. Yeah, so this is created. You see that? Fine. So this we will delete, but first what we have to do, select this DAX, select this DAX. So when you select the DAX, this gets activated measure tool. From here, you can also go and change the data formatting, right? So what I will say is the home table has to be underscore DAX. So this will move there. Look at this now. And now I can remove the field, which I don't need it by default. The very first field it comes, because table can't be without field. Delete from the model. So all I'm saying is that all the DAX which we will create, we will keep under this. Okay. So when you create the DAX, if your selection is on this, when you click on this new measure, so what happens? The DAX, when you are going to press enter, the DAX will insert here, as you can see, right? So no problem. You can select the measure and you can always say that the home table should be this one or whatever. That is the first thing. If by mistake it has happened, otherwise you can always select this and you can say new measure. Or one more thing you can do, you can just go and start the new measure from here. Okay. So now the next formula is, we will say count or average. Here, average DAX. So you can calculate the averages. Average. Again, the same thing, column name. So I'll say sales. Right? Press enter. Okay. And one more thing. Total sales tax now should be sum. I think this way it will help you. Sum tax, because this talks about the sum formula, this talks about the average formula, this way. So I'm just renaming that. So average DAX is created. Let's go and drag this here. Convert changes to this. So you see the average is coming. Now, what if I want to change the, this to 1 decimal, for example? How to change this to 1 decimal? So this is the DAX, remember. I can click here and I can say that, okay, so I want this to be a 1 decimal. That's it. Okay, done. So this is the average. Same way, I have to find out the highest sale. So you can use the max as well, right? And then the max, let's get the column, which is sales. Again, close this. And this is max, DAX. Same way you can use the min. I will not cover that. I hope this is clear. I'm just making you comfortable with these, creating the DAX. Okay. So just go and drag this here. So this is the maximum value we have here. Not simple. Now, what if, let's say, for example, I want to count all the values. Same count function, we have it, right? So let's click on this new measure. Count the numbers. So let's say I want to count its cost. Count. Okay. Press enter or click on the tick mark. Let's go here. Change this to number in this way, right? Now, by chance, now again, so let's say I want to find out the total number of rows, let's say the rows in your table. How many rows we have in your table? I mean, the number of rows, for example, or maybe the blank we want to count, isn't it? The blank rows. So these are all things we have. Okay. So what we will do, for example, we will just go and use this new measure. I will say count rows. This one. Now see, it is asking for the table. You have to give the table, not the field. So what is my table? My table is toy data. Did you see one thing? I'm pressing the toy. I'm writing the toy and no field is coming. This is also a good thing. I mean, to avoid the confusion, they're just giving, because see, the parameter says table. So it's going to tell you the number of rows in a table if you want to calculate. It's also like Excel. I mean, you can't just go and, give any input in any format. No, you have to take care of the data types. If it is asking for a number or text, or if it is asking for a table or column, you will see that in the coming sections. So we have this count row. Now, so how about, let's say I want to go and check the unique count of my item. How many items we have, or the countries we have in our system, right? Now, if you measure, if you simply go and say count country, you'll get all those same 2035. But I want that unique count. So for unique count, we have distinct count. Count the number of distinct values. Again, what is the parameter? Column name. So I'm going to give, let's say, column name as country, for example. I type the country, right? And you can just click here. You can rename also this later on. Just select the DAX and rename. So this is my distinct count. Let's click OK. So I think we have 78 countries, isn't it? So let's put the list here. Yeah, so we have 8 countries. This is working, right? Same way we have count blank also. If I have to count blank, remember this is a column name. Number of blanks in a column, not in a table, in a column, right? So let's put any, I want to check in this column, how many blanks we have. Don't have any blank, I think. Enter. And now I'll drag this here. So it says nothing. It says nothing. Correct? Yes, like this. So these are the very basic DAX functions. But today I just want you to be comfortable with these, right? Try to write them. If you are getting some mistake, you can let us know. We'll see to that, and then try to move them from one table to another, or try to change the formatting, of these and see what happens when you change the formatting. Like here we have 308 revenue. So when you select this gets highlighted. Don't worry. I mean, if you select the visual will tell you which DAX I'm using, right? So this is my sum DAX. So if I click on this, I can say you have to be, let's say, go in the currency format. So I can do that in this way. And then, of course, this is a card one. So you know that how the card actually, we have already covered the formatting section of the cards. So in this way, you can all do that, these things, right? And now, for example, I want to say that the total should be divided with the country. I want to divide two different values. Can I divide? Yeah, you can. So how I'm going to divide? I have already created one DAX. This is as good as a header, field header, isn't it? I mean, this will not show in my data. If I click on the toy data, these will not be there, right? Because they are the different ones. But there are also fields. Why we have created them? For this, not just for this, but also they can go and multiply or add with each other. So if I have to divide, let's say, total revenue, which means this DAX with, let's say, this number. Okay. I'm just taking this example. I mean, there's no logic. So yeah, we can do that. So what I will do, I will say new measure, and I'll say divide. So my numerator is my DAX, which is called sum DAX. So I will write sum DAX. You see that? Correct? Sum DAX. And in the denominator, I'll keep my distinct count DAX, which is where? Which is distinct count DAX. Yes, distinct. This one. Right? In the alternate, you can always write what if the calculation gives you the error. Alternate result. So I'll keep this as black. But my calculation will not give me the error, but I mean, this is optional. Okay. So divide. In dashboards, we don't keep these names. We'll give the relevant names, like total number of transactions, like total sales, average of the process, the highest sale. This is for us right now. So that when you practice, of course, you can see here also, but I just, because looking at these cards is far easy than, I mean, it helps you in understanding better than when you look at these fields. So you can quickly see that what we have covered. So that's why I'm creating these tags by these names. So I press enter. Now we should see this divided by this. Let's put the divide here and change that. Yeah, so it's 38.4K. And let's say I want to keep this as one decimal only. I think it didn't happen. One. Yes. All right, this way. So if you divide this with this is what you get. Or maybe let's keep this as 0. Fine. So the measures which we create, these DAX measures, we can also go and use them in any calculation together. Okay, so gradually, you will see all the things. Okay, so now please understand one thing, that if I've created, let's say I'll show you something like, okay, now you see there is a graph I've created here. One more concept you must understand. Now I'm going to put the age group here, correct? Right? Now, what will happen if I will not put the sales here. Instead of the sales, I will put this tax here. What will happen? This one. Both the things are same, isn't it? If I right now put the sales somewhere here and I show you the card, it's the same thing, 3088, 3088, correct or not? Right? So what will happen if you go and put the measure now in the graph? Are they going to work, or is it only for the cards? They will work. But then if they will work, the doubt will come in our mind. Which is what? Which is that this is the total. So like age group wise, how it is going to show? Isn't it? It's going to show you in the same way. Why? When you create the pivots in Excel and you drop the sales in front of the age, let's say, what happens? Automatically age-wise data splits, right? So this is called the filter concept in the DAX. This DAX is created on the overall sales, isn't it? This formula. But the moment you will put this in any visual, don't doubt that it will still show you the 308 everywhere. No, because it's going to check in the background, the query will run and the query will see, okay, so this is the formula the user has applied. This formula can be anything, guys. This formula can be top 10, top 100, right? Right now, this is just simple DAX sum. So what it is going to do, it is going to see, okay, so here is a filter on 2 to 3 years. So give me the formula, give me the value based on the same formula, but make sure it should be equal to 2 to 3 years. Classical query will run in the background, right? So it's not that once you have created some DAX formula, it will remain same. This also depends that where are you dropping it, in which visual you are dropping it, right? Generally, if you put any field, I know there's no doubt in our mind because field is field. But when we create the DAX, somehow, we have this, we are not able to get the concept clear that, the DAX, so once the DAX is created, it's going to give us the same value. No, here when you put the value, because it is a card visual, there's no filter context, there's no x-axis here. But when you put the same formula here, your own formula, the filter context will be applied. This is called the filter context on this measure, sum. So formula will remain the same, but every time these coordinates, these x-axis values will be a part of that calculation. Apply the formula same sum, toy data sales, where age is this. And that's why it is important for you to understand that this DAX, if you drop anywhere, it will behave like, it will give it the values based on those x's, right? Like for example, I put here so I want to see, let's say again, so let's use the same thing. So let's say this is my the visual, and let's say I want the country, for example, right? Now what will happen if I use this count row? What is a count row? Check count row. It's going to give me the toy data rows. It's on the table. It's going to give me the total number of rows based on what? Toy data, right? But here we have the country also. Here we have the country also. So if I drop this here, you will see the total number of rows based on the country. So if I now go back to my table and I say filter on India, how many rows we have from India? It's not sales, it's not item sheet, simple rows. I can see that here. I can see that here. Are you getting my point, right? So this is called the filter context. So in future, let's say we have created a DAX. There is a formula called top N, like you saw that in the filter. Let's say there is a formula which is giving us the sale of the top 10 categories. We have so many categories. Out of those categories, we have said this those categories which are the top ones in terms of its sale. Let's add them, right? So you have a number which says, let's say 1000, right? Now on this same chart, if I go and drop that top end DAX, what will happen? Based on this category, based on this category, based on this category, the formula will be calculated. So from 2 to 3 years, let's find out who are the top 3 sellers, which are the top 3 sales or top 10, whatever, right? But if I don't use this and I simply put that on the cart, it will be calculated on the overall process, top 3, isn't it? Because now there's no access, there's no filter context. So you will see the top 3 items and their total, that's it. So let's say that is 5000, right? But when the same formula will be dragged here, dropped here, where you have these age or anything, or maybe the country, the filter context gets applied. The same thing which happens in the pivot. And this is where the people get confused. Oh, what is it? What is it? That will automatically start showing the India's top 3, France top 3. Because in the background, something is happening, only then you are able to calculate something, isn't it? And the Microsoft has done all that job. In the background, when the SQL runs, it's going to find out these coordinates. Okay, so in this graph, this is the formula, and these are the x-axis labels, coordinates. So now it's going to automatically start making all those calculations, doing the calculations. Okay, so this is something you will see. So remember the word called filter context. Filter context. Filter context means that automatically when the DAX we will drop in any visual, the filter, the values against which we want to see that calculation, it will happen based on that. Okay, so this is the line we will keep using. And as the formula gets bigger, this will, you will get more understanding that why I'm focusing so much. Okay, it's the same concept which a pivot has. When you drag and drop anything in the pivot also restructures itself, isn't it? Same thing happens in the DAX also. Fine, let's just stop here, and tomorrow we will continue with this. We will have more the control on the data, right? When it comes to the DAX, because today I have just simply showed you the basic ones, but I haven't showed you the real the problems where, let's say, for example, you say that, well, this is okay, the total, but I want to see the total from India and France only. Or I want to see the percentage that how much weightage India and France have on the total of the sales. Then what will you do? Okay. So let's discuss that tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, guys.